Welcome to another edition of The Exchange. I'm your host, Shaquille Carswell. Tonight, we're talking about religion at Kent State and beyond. Now, before the change, that channel, we want to let you know that we do not want you to start a debate about the topic. We simply want to discuss about religious practices and history. Now, there are overwhelming indications that religion diversity is a current and relevant issue for universities and college campuses. Kent State Division of Diversity, Religious Belief, Equity, and Inclusion is representative of the university's support and acceptance of personal differences. From several churches, synagogues, temples, and mosques throughout the campus, various religious beliefs are held true and dear to Kent State students. Local religious establishments promote their faith and base it on internal and external personal growth. But are their beliefs being repressed and or promoted more than others? Let's take a look at the video about these religions.
It is a religion of peace, submission, and commitment to one God and all He created. It is a way of being, a way of life. It is Islam, and fully 1/5 of people in the world follow this faith. They call themselves Muslims.
In my opinion, the best bit about being Jewish is definitely the food. Well, for a lot of special Jewish occasions, all my family get together. We have big meals, which are really nice. It's good to see all of them together.
Up next, we have the lovely Lindsay with our social media segment. Lindsay?
Thank you, Shaq. Hi, everyone. I'm your social media host, Lindsay. Considering that this week's topic is religion, the question we posted on social media was, do you feel religion is a big part of your life as a college student? As we all know, college is a time for people to find their identity. They are encouraged to explore new ideas and question what they know. Kristen Kaiser on Instagram expresses her opinion by saying, I feel that college is the perfect time in your life to explore religion and find your own beliefs. Religion isn't personally a big part of my life, but I know that if I have any interest, there are many groups on campus I could explore. Kristen is very true. Kent offers many religious groups so everyone can find their niche if they feel that they want to dig deeper in the spiritual aspect. As I mentioned above, college is a time to explore and question. However, many times this reaffirms their beliefs. Erin supports this point as she states, I grew up going to Mass every weekend because of my parents and their faith. After all those years, I thought, okay, I'm away at college. I don't have to be forced to go anymore. But being in college and meeting people that have similar beliefs grew my faith, and I feel more in tune with God than before. College allows you to discover new religions, but in my case, it just strengthened what I grew up with. Furthermore, Amy says, it definitely affected my life. My decision to not party or drink or curse is all based on my belief that Jesus has more for my life. Because I'm his follower, I strive to live every day like he would, if that means walking in the opposite direction of the crowd. Thank you, Erin and Amy, for commenting. Those are both great responses that I could relate to. Many material possessions of this world could only keep us happy and satisfied for so long. Yet, in my opinion, when one puts their identity in God, their life is in good hands. Thank you again for commenting. Make sure to check out our Instagram, theexchange.tv2, and our Twitter, theexchangetv2. So you can give your opinion on next week's question. See you next time.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. And focusing on religion here at Kent State, we had a few of our associate producers visit Hillel here on campus. What is Hillel? Watch this video made by associate producer Marissa Matthews and Sam Foyer to find out.
My favorite thing about coming on Shabbats is the sense of community. There's always a smiley face. We do a thing where we light candles, which signifies the beginning of Shabbat. And my favorite thing is I open my eyes and look to my neighbor next to me, and just that big, warm, smiley feeling that you get when somebody looks at you and says, Shabbat Shalom. It's just the most beautiful feeling.
On February 12th, Hillel at Kent State held their annual Avi Interfaith Shabbat. Students from all different religious clubs came out to share parts of their religion.
Well, Hillel is having a diversity Shabbat in honor of a Brown University student who passed away, who was really into intercultural activities and intercultural life, trying to get different religious groups together for different purposes. So we've invited both the Jewish community that comes here on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, as well as members of other religious communities to come and celebrate Shabbat with us.
Students gave examples and showed us how they practice their faith.
So this is when the heart and the mind are being used in the same form, like right here. This is where Islam is. It's saying like basically when you have religion, you have mind and you have heart. And then you come back up and you say Allahu Akbar and you go down.
We had the chance to speak with Rabbi Lee, who holds the events at Hillel.
Interfaith Shabbat, we actually call it Avi's Interfaith Shabbat. We do it here on campus at Kent, but it's something that happens in campuses all over the country, inspired by a young man named Avi Schaefer. Quickly cut short when he was run over by a car. I mean, it was really, really this tragic, sad thing. And so his family set up the Avi Schaefer Fund in his memory to inspire interfaith dialogue to happen on campuses all over the country.
I come to the Interfaith Shabbat every year that I can. Because it's a meaningful time to gather with our diverse friends of other religious traditions and learn about one another and form some common bonds of friendship and hopefully build some bridges of tolerance and peace, first in our campus community and then, of course, extending that globally. You can also use the Wi-Fi, there's a pool table, there's a comfy gathering space where you can just sit down and do your homework or check your Facebook. It's very open and friendly here. This is a safe space, like our ministry, United Christian Ministries is also a safe space. So everyone is welcome to be part of the programs. You don't have to be Jewish. I'm not Jewish, but I love Judaism and I love the students of the Hillel.
For more information on Hillel, please visit their website.
Here with me, I have Exchange Associate Producer Marissa Matthews, who attended the Shabbat event. How are you doing tonight? Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Going to the Shabbat event at Hillel was amazing. I personally am not Jewish, so it was kind of an interesting experience. When I first went, I was a little bit nervous that I was going to be like the only one that wasn't Jewish, but when I got there, I realized that there were so many different religions. This being its interfaith Shabbat, so there were just different groups. There was the Muslim group, the Christian group. It was very open. It was a very open and diverse setting, so it was great.
Awesome. So what was your take on, the Hillel allowing other, religious practices or religious belief to come in to discuss their practices there at, being that they're not Judaism as well?
I thought it was great, and it was a really eye-opening experience because I personally didn't know how Jewish people practice their faith, and I didn't know how maybe Muslim people practice their faith. But at the beginning of the event, the religious groups each gave like an example of how they practice their faith. So some of them did like examples of how they go down in prayer, and then halfway through the event we actually did like a Shabbat, and we did like all these Hebrew songs, and it was so amazing, and it was just so eye-opening to see how these people practice their religion. It was just something different. It was really nice.
Well, thank you so much for being with us and sharing that information with us. Don't change that channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Exchange, and moving from popular religious to more obscure ones. We're going to watch a video made by our very own Jay Cox. Jay took a look at some of the strangest religions from around the world. Let's take a look.
Hello, and as previously stated, I am Jay Cox, and I'm here to educate you, the beautiful and godlike audience, on 4 of the weirdest religions I found. If this isn't going to offend everyone, I don't know what will. First on the list is Satanism. Well, we're just hitting the high spots quick on this one. Satanism, if you want the most basic explanation, is a religion that believes that Satan or Lucifer is not a deity of sorts, but is actually more of a symbol of free will, individualism, and a crisis of faith. Fun fact, Satanism is one of the few religions that actually prohibits rape and pedophilia.
Thanks, Satan.
Next up is the Creativity Movement, formerly known as the World Church of the Creator. This church is basically a white separatist movement that advocates a whites-only religion. Alright, going from the actual devil to the white devil. This list is going swimmingly. Despite their use of the word creator in their former name, the movement is atheistic and is known for one time plotting to murder a federal judge. racist, atheistic, and terrorist? Talk about triple threat. Like death threat. Next, we have maybe our weirdest religion, the Prince Philip movement. It's basically a tribe in Vanuatu that believes that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, consort to Queen Elizabeth II, is a literal god. The story behind it is that the prince came to the tribe, and the tribe thought that he was a divine being from a prophecy they had. Even weirder thing about this thing is that Prince Philip actually went along with it and played God, if you want to get technical. It's weird, but it's also, actually, it's kind of an upgrade. Started from the bottom, now he's here.
Started from the bottom, now my whole team in. Started from the...
Next on the crazy list is Jediism. This one is exactly what you think it is. It's people who actually believe in the Force from George Lucas's Star Wars franchise. This one isn't actually as bad though, because it believes in human morality, achieving inner peace, and achieving a Zen-like state. Not bad when you compare it to Satanists and white devils. Me, I just think it's an excuse for 30-something-year-olds to play with lightsabers, but I'm not gonna judge. Hey there, Red. Missed you. To wrap all this up, I believe that religion overall is a good thing. It can guide people and put people on a path to make this world better for everyone. But it becomes a problem when people misunderstand their own religion and use it to just justify their own biases. I'm looking at you, Ken Davis. And that's all I have for this week. Now, I'm taking my chair with me. I forgot there's a tripod. So I'm just gonna sit here. And you can leave though.
Wow, what a video. Thank you so much, Jay Cox. Now it's time for one of the favorite parts of the show, where we help our lovely viewers understand what it is that they are watching on television to help them break down those media messages. This is Lifting the Veil. So this week we are discussing the topic religion. How do you, the viewer, feel about your religion, or do you not believe in any religion? Many people raise their children in a religion, and that child grows up and decides for themselves whether or not they want to be a part of it. Many news channels depict Islamic belief to be that of terrorism. It is not. These people are hiding behind this specific religion for a reason. And folks, I must say they are doing a darn good job in deceiving you. This is just a mini example as to how many people criticize beliefs among others and choose religions that suit them best. In closing, I would like to say everyone is different. Religion shouldn't prevent them from accomplishing many things in life. It is a personal decision. Take the time to research these religions and ask, what do you stand for? What does it truly mean to be part of it? Will you be surprised as to who you see as members as well as what they do for the community? Well, that's all I have for Lifting the Veil. I hope you consider what I have said and think about and how you act and what you say to members of other various religions. We're all the same on the inside. Don't forget that. The Exchange will be right back after. Welcome back to The Exchange, and thank you for staying with us. We are going to continue this week's discussion on religion with our Exchange Viewings panel. Good evening and welcome to The Exchange Views. Here I have with me today is Mr. Braylon Lee, Marissa Nickel, and Mitch Fullon. Welcome everyone. Moving right along, do you feel religion is a big part of your life as a student? Here at Kent State, do you feel college has brought you closer to your religion, or do you feel like you have strayed?
You know, in my case, I honestly feel like I've gotten closer with God. Just to kind of give a little context on the reason why I think that is, in 2013-14 school year, I dropped down from a 3.0 cumulative to a 1.0 cumulative GPA, academic warrant, getting close to kicked out of school.
Yes, yeah, I was going to say.
And so I really had to, you know, change my views and my time management skills. And so because of that now, and a lot of prayer and, you know, doing what I need to do, I'm now back at 2.8 GPA. If I do what I did last spring, be back at my 3.0. So that comeback has taught me a lot on how not to give up, and I feel like I've gotten closer with God, you know, for that.
Well, I really can't speak personally about it, but I think as for a student population in general, that Kent State allows for a lot of good services for different religions, a lot of good services for different faiths. And that might not be something you see at a lot of other schools, because Kent State's a fairly liberal school.
Right.
And we do allow for a lot of LGBTQ communities and more specifically religious communities for this conversation. So there's the Cohen Center, there's Hillel, as we discussed earlier, there's the Muslim Students Association, and these are just all places that students can go to and be around people who share their same beliefs. Now, like Braylon, I really liked your story, first of all, but I think a lot of people kind of have a story like that, where they came to college and something unfortunate may have happened, and it makes them kind of think about their life a little bit more. And I think Kent State gives a good avenue for those students to turn to a community where they know they're going to be accepted.
Yeah, I agree with Mitch on that, because me personally, I'm more of a spiritual person, and I don't follow religion that many people do. So in high school, it's most people who went to my school were like Christian, and so coming to college, I find tons of different types of people, and it's easier for me to find my place.
Okay, and so what would you say your place is, and practicing that faith?
Yeah, well, like for me, I follow the ideology of Buddhism, and so there are every Sunday in the Kent Student Center, there's meetings for meditation. So it's like if I were to want to get closer to my spirituality, I could go there and do that, because there's the resources here at Kent.
And it's awesome that they're make that available here and make it local for different religious or different people with different religious backgrounds to go and practice their faith in different temples or churches or synagogues or what have you.
So, what I really like as well is that I think a lot of, I don't want to say adults, but a lot of people outside of this whole college atmosphere think that all we do is party and drink. And
my mom thinks that all the time.
I think my mom does too. But the fact that there are so many students that are involved in these kinds of things, and that there are so many groups for them, I think kind of dissuades that a little bit, because you can be partying, and that doesn't mean you're not a religious person. And these people who go to these services and go to these groups and participate in these events are proving that day after day. So I just find that very interesting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people also come to college not really being religious at all, and I know some people who actually found a religion that they fit in, and now they devoted their whole life to their faith, and they never would have expected that.
And it's actually really cool that you can find your faith. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's actually cool that students detour from their faith coming into college, and then eventually refine their way back to either the same faith or a different faith. It's awesome that we have that opportunity to be open to different religious or faiths.
And what I was going to say was too, I think the biggest thing that I try to do, because I'm a part of the Impact Movement, although I'm a commuter, I try to do at least once a month. One of the things that I do when I do evangelism is I try to be relatable. And I try to be transparent, because a lot of people think that you have to come to God as this perfect soul. Like I said, my story is not perfect at all. So God worked with me where I was, but I had to look within myself to know that, I do matter, and that, my mistakes don't define who I am, but they should shape me to be the person I want to be. And I think the more transparency we can have, not just in mine and Mitch's and Nicole's religions, I think the more transparent we are, the more open that they will become to our faiths and maybe find their own thing too.
So Braylon, I'm kind of interested too. When you did decide that you were going to become religious in college, how did you go about that?
That's a good question, Mitch. I've always been raised, to believe in God. At first I didn't really have a religion. It was my mom who really made me go to church. And we would have battles if you have an old school mom. She would say, get your behind to be going to church regardless, and she would win all the battles. But the biggest thing I said to her is that I went to church for her and not for myself. And so once I realized that, then I started to realize, okay, maybe there is something here. Because I was bullied a lot in the past. I was like, you know what, I don't know what to do. God has worked for other people, maybe I can try it, and I'm still here. I still got battle scars, but I'm still here standing.
And I can somewhat relate to that. My mom and my family made us go to church. I do have a strong religious background. My parents are pastors, so I was made to go to church. So just being made to go to a faith or where we practice that I didn't have my own personal relationship.
Exactly.
So now that I'm here or in college and now I'm on my own, I have now I'm available to have that personal or grow a personal relationship in any religious or practices that I want to venture into.
Yeah, and that's what I think is really cool about religion in general. There's so many different kinds because I was actually raised the same way, like went to church with my parents, I never really understood, and I wanted to go out and just find somewhere where I fit personally, because I don't think just because you're raised a certain way means you have to follow that religion. And it's important for you to go out and find something that you really belong to. And my parents were completely supportive of that.
And that's good. And that's good.
It was always kind of different for me. My mom actually studied religious studies at Lewis and Clark College in Portland, and through that, she learned so much about different kinds of religion that when it came to raising me and my sister, she kind of put us on our own. You know, we had our choice as to what we wanted to believe, so she didn't, you know, we didn't go to church, we didn't really go do any specific religious practices. It was always just kind of open for us. So that way, when we discovered ourselves, you know, when we got older and when we started to have our own free thought, it was kind of interesting because a lot of people I was talking to at that point said, you know, oh, my mom made me go to church every Sunday when I was growing up, and it just wasn't the same for me because it was more of an open situation.
So did you find it more difficult to find where you fit in now, or is it?
Not really. I mean, I have my own opinions. I have my own political opinions, I have my own religious opinions, and that all kind of fits into what I believe with faith and what I believe just in general. So I have the freedom to make that decision, especially now that I'm in college, but I always kind of had that freedom.
And it's actually really good that we are able to have that freedom. And do you feel that you're able to practice freely, you know, being a student here at Kent State?
Yeah. Most definitely. You know, for me, of course, I don't carry the Bible around my hand.
Right.
But, you know, my mom said the best way that you can practice Christianity and show people what it is to walk out every day. So my positive attitude, a lot of that comes from God. One of the things that I do, and I would suggest to anybody who's watching us right now, you know, Saturday morning or, you know, try out for next week, the first 5 to 10 minutes of your day, wake up and just say to God, whoever your higher power is, what you're grateful for. Don't ask for nothing. And a lot of people are like, why should I do that? When you put yourself in that positive mindset, I promise you your day will go a lot smoother.
And I thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we will be moving on and we'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll be right back for the commercial break. Welcome back to The Exchange. Before we leave, I would like to shed a little bit of light about our co-host, Kayla. Kayla planned to co-host the show tonight, but was unable to due to an incident that occurred earlier today. While we do not want to go in full detail, we would like for Kayla to know that we would like for you to know that she is safe and we will return next week. The cast and the crew wish her the best of luck in this hard time. We want to let her know that she will always have the support and the people who work for her in this show. Now, that is all that we have for you tonight. Hope that you have learned a lot from this episode. Hope that you have learned about religion and other of your own, and as well as religion here at Kent State. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at The Exchange TV2 and on Instagram at TheExchange.TV2 to keep up with the conversation. Have a great night, everyone.